Hi, everybody. This week, you're going to be asked to watch the film Princess Mononoke. And it's obviously a Japanese animation or anime film. So it's it's an animated, film that deals with the issue of the relationship between humans and the environment, the forest, and technological progress, and also hatred and anger, and the ways that hatred and anger impact people and their actions. In addition, this week you're going to be asked to reflect on contemporary issues that relate to the environment. So we've been studying kind of the theories that relate to religion, agrarianism, deep ecology, the relationship between all those ideas, and how the human can kind of dwell on the earth in, to use a Heideggerian word, in a more authentic way. And now we're going to be focusing on specific practical examples. So primarily this week we'll be focusing on this huge dam project in India and the displacement of people after these dams are put into action. Basically what happens is when you put a dam into a valley, it will back the water up and fill up the valley, which will bring the water level up to wherever the top of the dam is, pretty much, or within a few feet. And of course that'll rise and fall depending on the flow of the river behind it. But anyway, for people who live close to the river, or close to the edge of the lake that the river might go through, they're obviously going to have to move up to higher elevation. So when a government, so for example in China, they've recently done a huge dam project. The whole point of a dam itself seems to be twofold. One is it provides net water, or a huge basin of water that a government can use, and it can disperse that water in different directions to people who need it into different regions. At the same time, a lot of these dam projects are a huge source of hydroelectric power. So as the water goes through the dam, it spins these wheels that generate static electricity, and I'm probably not doing it justice, and then that static electricity, just like if you rub your head with a balloon, right, and then you do that, the balloon sticks to your head, you generate static electricity through friction. And so these big wheels spin, and it creates the static electricity, and then that electricity is harnessed for use. So what governments have to do is they have to decide if they're willing to harm a certain group of individuals, and that harm is primarily by forcing them to leave their homes and their villages. And oftentimes these people are pastoral people, so they live in the countryside in small communities, and often they are on the lower end of the socioeconomics realm, as well as in some cases the lower end of the strata of society. So for example in India, where you have ideas about caste and different levels that you're born into that are really hard to break free from, the people who are in these regions are on the lower caste. So they might not even be considered to have an equal value to people from a higher caste, or even to the same people of their same caste, but living in like a larger city. So there are questions of economic justice and ethnic justice that relate to these issues as well, especially when you have a society where people believe that a certain group is worth less than another group. And I'm not saying that that's not the case in the United States. Of course, in our history, it's definitely been the case as African Americans were enslaved, first of all, and then considered less than human, both in relation to voting, as well as land ownership, as well as being able to participate in politics apart from voting, running for office and other things like that. Education, African American education was considered to be of less importance then white education, which is obvious from the supposed separate but equal laws. And then, and of course, the Native Americans were not even considered human, probably, by most of the people who decimated them. And there's a famous quote from Theodore Roosevelt, our former president, and he says that something to the effect that he doesn't agree with all the killings of Indians, but in 9 out of 10 cases, it's probably the best thing to do to kill them. And in the 1 out of 10 case where it's probably wrong, you know, he wouldn't really worry too much if somebody did kill a Native American. And our actions in relation to Native Americans definitely demonstrated that they were seen as obviously less than human, or having less importance. So I'm not saying that the United States escapes from this form of social injustice. And of course women too, right? Women are still not considered equal to men. So that's a whole 50% of the population that's considered unequal merely because of their genitalia. But apart from all that, back to Princess Mononoke, the way that it fits in is that in this animated film, you have an analysis of what it means, or what happens when technology kind of butts heads with nature. You have a really interesting relationship between the belief in the spiritual, in the God power within nature, and its effectiveness in the world. So you'll notice that theme as well, that the people who are able to kill gods or to destroy the forest are precisely those who don't believe in those gods anymore. At the same time, you'll probably find it interesting. I want to challenge you to find the kind of the evil character, right, in this film. You might find it somewhat difficult to find a character that's completely portrayed as being evil. Each character seems to have its own strengths and weaknesses. If anything, there might just be a personification of evil. I don't want to give it all away, but you'll see that there's some sort of evil that lies in the heart of anger and bitterness and resentment and revenge in the film. At the same time, I want you to think about Disney and how we started this course, and the way that Disney films approach nature and present nature versus the way that nature is presented in this film. One thing I'll just say is, one of the critiques of Disney is that it presents all these animals kind of interacting with each other, and no danger, right? There's no danger in the lion being next to the baboon. The lion's not going to eat the baboon, and I don't think that lions attack baboons too much. But probably if they're really hungry, they'll go after monkeys and kill them. But I think you'll see in this film there's a more realistic relationship and portrayal of the wild and of nature itself. And that's manifest in just one scene I think of is the wolves at some point ask their master if they can go eat the red elk that one of the main characters utilizes to travel around in the movie, and they're kind of like this inseparable duo. But the wolves ask if they can go and eat the red elk. Now, of course, they're speaking and asking permission from a human, so that's not too realistic. But at the same time, there is this dangerousness in the film that isn't evident in most Disney films, or is only evident in just a few glimpses, whereas here there seems to be a pervasive wildness about animality and nature throughout the film. So anyway, that's just a little bit about this week, and hopefully you'll be thinking about all these themes as you watch the film, as well as read the articles about the dam project in Gujarat in India. And again, just think about everything that you've learned. Think about how humans can dwell in nature, how they can authentically appropriate their place in the world so that they can find peace and harmony and attempt to live lives that are responsible in relation to nature. So anyway, I hope we have a good week, and I hope you enjoy the contents of this week. Make sure that you check out my instructor guidance for a video about how to do research for the final paper. Hopefully you'll find that helpful as well.